You got paper?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I might have to pull a notebook out in the car.
That's okay.
Saying it's usually writing on the things. So, I guess that's in the.
That's okay. Now we're fine.
Do you need something to, if I can?
Might be one short.
All right. Ready to get started?
Yeah, let's get started.
All right, so I think we ended last time we met with some discussion of Article 155. Felt like we were pretty close. So this, what I've just passed across is the district's proposal for 155. I think really where we were focused as teams when we met last was in the first part of paragraph A, the department chairs at the secondary level. So the effort here is you've got a proposal that when a department chair has one or two members reporting to them, there'll be a range 2 addendum. And then the asterisk brings you down to new language that's in bold and underlined that describes the circumstances where that addendum would be available. So I'll just read that. The range 2 addenda are available to department chairs in alternative schools or other schools with 1 or 2 member reports in core academic content areas, English language arts, math, science, and social studies. The range 2 addenda are also available to world languages, fine arts, and physical education department chairs who have 1 or 2 member reports. In the, I think the discussion last week was this, this is our effort to define the scope of the commitment here to that range 2 addenda for those department chairs. So the result is the language I just read. And the remainder of the proposal is consistent with what has appeared in the last couple district proposals, and I think we were close on that language. There aren't any changes there. Any questions?
I don't see any, thank you.
Okay.
We'll, we appreciate the clarification around those department chair designations, and we will talk it over and get back to you here. Before we go to Cox and talk about this, we would like to talk about Article 403, give you a proposal on 403, and then maybe we can caucus on those two articles and then proceed.
Okay.
Yeah, one was for me, but I already have one.
Sorry.
No worries. Okay, we've talked about Article 403 quite a bit, and there was a thought the other day that might help pull this article together and allow us to get it taken care of. So before I forget though, in Part A, there's a editing omission, I guess. In the first line there of A, it says individualized education program. The individualized, the end of the word is bold but needs to also be underlined. So note that change. And then this goes through the first and second page, I believe, are the same as the pages that the district has seen and shown lately. When we were, I think at one point we were pretty close, and we were just haggling over the dollar amount on page 3. On page 3, that dollar amount in our proposal is $40 per hour. And on page 4, in J, release time, we have restored that language, and it's book language with the exception that rather than saying 2 days per quarter, it's been changed to 3 days per quarter. And then the rest, I believe, is the same as you've seen. Well, I think the same that both of us have had, with the possible exception in L. I'm not sure that the district had a strike through an and had the or in there in L1, but I think that might not be what you had, but I do believe that is kind of the intent of the language. But anyway, so we have accepted the district's $40 per hour suggestion and have brought the language back for release time that we had both kind of agreed to move, but then I think we've kind of come to the realization that maybe it fits better in 4.3 where it was initially, and we hope that this will allow us to get this article taken care of. So it's a concession on our part to go from the per diem to the $40 per hour. We hope that's recognized and appreciated.
Yep, thank you. Definitely recognize and appreciate that movement. I think, I mean, I understand the other changes and take note of the underscore in paragraph A. Any questions on the ASD side?
No, I just see one thing that needs to be fixed in E, that's it. Just with ID, where it says, drop individualized educational
Right.
program, it just take the AL off, and it's, so it's consistent across the document, that's it.
Thank you.
Yeah, good catch, thank you. Would, I assume that association would it be okay with that? Okay. Okay, yeah, I don't think there are any other questions, concerns. We can take a quick caucus at this point unless there's another article you have.
Yeah, I think a short caucus would be in order here, and I don't think with 155 that it'll be a matter of us coming back with a counter. I think it's an either or at this point. So, oh, I shouldn't say that. We'll see. But
Okay.
But I don't think we would need very much time here. So,
You want to say 15 minutes then?
sure.
Or?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, so back at 5.
Great. Thank you.
All right, thanks for the extra time. We had a change of plans after seeing the proposals, so appreciate that. Did you have a chance to look at 155?
We did. Yep.
How's that look
Yeah.
to you?
It's okay. Yeah, we can sign it.
Okay. And we can sign 403, thanks for that. And then we have a package proposal.
Okay.
If you're ready for that.
Sure.
I think this is covered. Okay.
I think you guys should sign your things first.
Hmm?
I think you guys should sign your
I did. I
things. You just handed it to
sent
them.
one over, yeah, or two. Me too.
No, that is not, again, just to get everyone.
Yeah. All right. Well, I first want to, again, say thanks for the extra time. We had a package that included Article 403 in it, so we had to do some rearranging. If, as anyone goes through, there looks to be an out-of-sequence problem in your packet, that's my issue in trying to reorganize things. Tried to get it back in order, but I might have missed a couple. So just want to start by saying, just thanking the AEA's team. We've met a bunch of times, spent a lot of time together, and just happy with all the progress that we've made. Signed 2 more articles today, so just thank you for everyone's effort. The effort here from the district is to capture all the articles remaining, and we anticipated that we would likely sign 155, so it's not in here. As I mentioned, 403 has come out because we've agreed to that. So these are the remaining articles as we show them in the negotiation. And my intent here would just be to walk through it. I don't want to go too fast, but it's lengthy because it covers a number of articles, so I'm just going to try to highlight some areas where it's either articles we haven't seen before or spent much time on, and then any changes from prior proposals. So just want to start with Article 105, salary schedule. The district's proposal here does several things. One is that it adopts pretty closely the concept presented in AEA's initial proposal around a simplified salary schedule with elimination of the master's charts or columns. So you've gone from what you see struck on the first couple pages, which is the current salary schedule, to the simplified one starting on page 3. The difference in approach here as compared to the AEA initial proposal is that these are 18 credit experience columns, which is currently the model in the contract. So the district's proposal sticks with that model. One of the things to point out is that in the effort of getting everyone currently in the bargaining unit placed on this schedule, there was some necessary shifting up in columns and steps. in accounting for that, that effort is a $1.8 million cost.
Sorry, Matt, that was in the fair agreement. Yeah, if I can speak to that, sorry, Matt, I misspoke when I talked to you. So just assigning people to the new columns would be overall about a $300,000 savings, and then the masters and doctorates would add another almost 1.5 million to it for a net of about 1.2 to realign the new step and lane and then add that masters and doctorate increases on the back end. So.
Great, thank you. Appreciate that. That's a big difference, so thank you for that. So there is an adjustment in terms of getting folks placed, and then as you'll see here as we go through the proposal, we do account for a master's and doctorate salary adjustment. So the other thing to note is starting with the 21-22 salary schedule, there would be, it reflects a 1.5% across the board salary schedule increase in the first year. Turning to page 4, an additional 1.5% increase in the second year, the 22-23 salary schedule. And then in the third year on page 5, again, a 1.5% salary adjustment increase on the salary schedule. Any questions on 105?
Yeah, Andy, could you speak, please, to your comment about realigning the $1.2 million net to realign? Specifically, who are we talking about here? What are the changes?
Generally, the differences are going to be the folks that are currently do not have a master's, that are stuck at the B36 level currently, and then having the credit hours that they do have would be applied to those higher steps under the district's proposal. So there's new money on the schedule that way, and then removing money from the folks that are currently on the master's or doctorate schedules into these non-masters before that 1% or 3% is applied on the district's proposal. Is that what I guess the question you're asking?
Yeah, so could you, how many folks were at B36 that were stuck as a result of the master's requirement that would now move over then?
I don't have all that information at hand to add it up, but
Was that
we can certainly get it for you, but it's...
What was the bigger chunk of that 1.2 net then? Was that the?
well, most of it is the 1% and the 3% for the master's and the doctorate. Those are actually the increases, but just to apply everyone to the new lanes, because all the people with masters, and there's a significant amount of folks in AEA with the masters, once they go to, if you're at a B54 with a master's now going to this B54, they're going to lose some of that money just on the salary placement, then make it back up once you add that 1%. So that was about a $300,000 decrease in cost just to reassign people before we apply that 1% and 3%.
So, is that cost lost to those members?
Not after they've increased for after the rest of the proposal is gone through with the proposed increase for just having the master's and the doctorate. There would not, I don't think there would be a net loss to anyone.
And that's important, thanks.
The 1.5%.
This is all before the 1.5
Yeah, we'll
is applied.
So just to your question, Corey, the effort as we put this together was to ensure that folks, when they were placed, would not experience a decrease in salary, and then we do the 1.5 on top of that. But just that was the effort, and as I'll get to in a minute, that's accomplished through the percent supplement for a master's and doctorate, if that helps. What is the value of the 1.5% in each of the 3 years?
So if we apply, it's for the first year, it's about $3.5 million. when you apply the 1.5% to everyone once they fall in the new schedules. And then it's about that it increases a little bit each year after that, just based on 1.5% on a higher amount of salaries. The last year is like 3.6 million, not including benefits.
So the total net increase in value just related to the salary schedule, which is inclusive of the 1% and 3%, is about,
So the total net that I get to would be about 4.7 million without benefits
in the first year,
in the first year, yes.
and then an additional, a little more than 3.5.
Each of the next 2 years, yes.
And Andy, how many FTE are you basing that on?
This is based on the 3,085 that we started the costing with from 2021. It hasn't been updated for 22 yet. I mean, it's a significant amount of work to go back and reassign people with credit hours based on these new schedules, so I've been keeping consistent. We did take out any sort of reference to cost increases for step and lane increases for this year, after we figured out that the average salary is pretty much about where it was the same time last year. We didn't want to apply that against the contract if it didn't exist.
So about 12 million in the 3 years.
About 12.5 million for the 3 years of growth on
Okay.
just the salary increases.
Based on 3,085 FTE.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions on 105? Okay. 110, the things I'll highlight there is the district has increased the current book language for the in lieu of step in each of the 3 years from the current 1,300 to 1,500. And what's the value of that?
That's almost 50,000 for growth in the first year, then it just stays at that for the next couple of years. What might complicate that a little bit is with the folks that were in the master's equivalency or other lanes that were at the end that could have got in lieu, may have another step or something, but the amounts will be pretty close, I think. Not a significant amount with that. So you might pay a little bit less in the in lieu and a little more on step movement to get those couple of years caught up, I think.
And then you'll see language, the district modeled an approach from the association's proposal around salary supplement adjustments for master's and doctorate level employees. And I'll just read the new language in this proposal. A member whose highest degree of educational attainment is a doctorate degree will receive a 3% annual salary supplement subject to the conditions below. A member whose highest degree of educational attainment is a master's degree will receive a 1% annual salary supplement subject to the conditions below. And then those conditions are described in the following paragraph. Conditions for receipt of the doctorate and master's degree salary supplements. Members will receive the annual salary supplement applicable to their highest level of educational attainment, doctorate or master's, and may not receive more than one degree-based salary supplement in a year. So the idea there is, we understand that there are members who have maybe 2 master's degree and a doctorate degree. Those wouldn't be additive, so that whatever the highest degree would set that amount of salary supplement. In the example I gave, that member would get a 3% salary supplement for having a doctorate degree as their highest degree of educational attainment. And then on page 7, the language there it's set out as new language here, but it is taken from the contract in terms of the talent management department's discretion and really obligation to make those determinations as to which of those salary supplements will apply. So it's kind of long, but I'll go ahead and read it. Transcripts must be submitted to the talent management department showing the actual completion of the degree requirements, or a transcript plus certification that requirements have been met, and the degree will be granted on a specific date. Doctorate and master's degrees other than in the field of education are acceptable only if they are in or relevant to the member's current subject area of teaching. Approval of degrees in areas other than the member's current teaching assignment will be at the discretion of the district and will be granted based upon the program needs of the district. Questions before I move on? Okay, next paragraph, thing to note there, this was in the, I believe, the district's initial proposal, inclusion of language that identifies that members who are placed on a plan of growth or on a plan of improvement during the prior school year are not eligible for step movement and educational attainment. The addition there is the reference to plan of growth. The matrix that appeared in the prior contract was struck, as was the reference to the master's degree approach, that the sort of grandfathered approach, given that we've simplified the salary schedule in the proposal. On the following page, page 8, districts adopted AEA's approach in paragraph F. The district shall provide up to 8 years of prior experience credit for placement on the salary schedule at the time of hire. The other thing to note on this page is that paragraph H is struck, and the reason for that is there's a similar but different approach in the proposal that we'll see here in a minute in Article 120C, in terms of what supplemental wages are available to, or salary supplements rather, are available to those in hard to fill and other identified positions. I think 115 is pretty self-explanatory. I'm not going to spend time on it here unless there are questions, but the effort is to track the educational attainment benchmarks with the reference to B18, 36, and so forth, and to strike the language around the master's degree. As you can see, some of the language there in 6 is what I just read that's been brought forward in paragraph 110B with respect to talent management's review of those transcripts and other documents demonstrating degree status. Page 10, really nothing much to point out there. The additional language is just to correct the identification of the responsible department, teaching and learning, for the salary movement review. That continues on to page 11. Nothing to spend time on page 11. Page 12 is where and this is 120C and D. This language was similar to that proposed in the district's initial proposal, with some additions in paragraph C to make it a little more clear what the district has in mind here. And so I'll read that. 120C says, the district may offer a salary adjustment to a member whose assignment is in a position identified by the district as a hard-to-fill position. The district may also offer a salary adjustment to a member whose assignment is at a school or in a program determined by the district to require additional resources in order to meet identified district goals. And I think the language in D is the same as has been previously proposed. Any questions there?
No.
Okay, thank you. Page 13. This is still in Article 120. New language in paragraph F. This, as you'll see later in the proposal, is in lieu of the current practice to offer an incentive for early notice of resignation in the health article. The district's proposal is to create a cash payment available in the member's final district paycheck. So that language would read, a member who provides a notice of resignation effective the last workday of the school year before 5 p.m. on February 1st will receive a one-time lump sum payment of $1,000 in their final district paycheck. The payment is non-taxable. The other thing to point out there is the district has identified a date earlier than has been previously identified for the deadline for that early notice of resignation. It would be February 1st. There's some reasons for that that are important, I think, ultimately to both the association and the district, and that is we do experience some lost opportunity to fill positions because of practices in other districts where hires are made before the district has received notices of resignation in March. The effort here would be to, attract the interest in the incentive earlier in the school year so that we have a better sense of staffing needs moving forward so that we can make those offers earlier. And that's the effort there in paragraph F. Article 125 is in the package, but really it only has one change, and that's just reference to the association versus AEA in paragraph D. No other changes from book there. 175, supplemental retirement accounts. This is as renumbered from AEA's proposal 112. Not a lot of, we're not, the district doesn't have its heels dug in terms of the number of that article. It just seemed to make more sense taken outside of the articles dealing with salary placement and supplements and so forth, and so that's why it's renumbered here. It is different from the association's proposal, but the district does believe this is making movement toward the interest described on a number of occasions in reference to this article, particularly for the benefit of Tier 3 members. And so I'll read the article as proposed here by the district. It's only a couple paragraphs. A Tier 3 member who has accrued and earned at least 13 days of sick leave may request to cash out 1 day of sick leave at the member's per diem rate to contribute to their 403B or 457 supplemental retirement account. The district may establish protocols to confirm the member's contribution to the retirement account. Annual requests to cash out sick leave must be received by the district's payroll department no later than May 1st. Timely requests will be processed between May 1st and the final payroll cycle for teachers of the school year. So a couple things in paragraph 1 there. It is the intent of the district to make it clear to members that the intent here is for this cash out to be used for the exclusive purpose of providing a contribution to a retirement account. And the other thing to point out is the rate at which that contribution can be made will vary depending on the member's per diem rate, because could vary. That's the maximum amount available with this sick leave cash out. So in theory, well, not in theory, a member with more seniority working at a higher per diem rate would be able to cash out more value to contribute to the retirement plan. It would be set at per diem rate. Anything on that one?
Sure.
Thank you. I can see how it does reflect the association's language with the 13 days. So if I'm in a second year of teaching and I have more than 13 days that year, I, as a staff member, would ask for a cash out. Then the following year, I could then ask for a cash out. Is that the implication in the language that it's not one time in my career, it's as long as I have established extra sick leave and I'm not wasting sick leave, I could do it once a year?
That is the intent, and thank you for that clarifying question. It would be an annual entitlement to be able to cash that 1 day. Thank you. Okay, moving to Article 205, health benefits. Just a couple quick things to point out in terms of the overall approach here. There's been a lot of discussion around this article beginning back in May, and some presentations. The overarching effort here is to recognize, two things. Recognize that some AEA members would have a continuing interest in receiving health benefits through the Public Education Health Trust, PEHT, and whatever program from year to year that PEHT has in place and whatever rates are set through that plan would be essentially follow the current practice as we've heard. But the district would also provide opportunity through this proposal for AEA members to also elect coverage through the district's health plan. So it would be essentially a matter of employee choice with regard to which plan they would select, the PEHT or the district health plan. The district has provided and continues to provide not all other employees, but many other employees outside of the AEA bargaining unit insurance through the ASD plan at the $1,695 employer contribution, monthly contribution rate without any increase to rates over the last 4 years. So the district's proposal does not include an increase in the employer contribution insofar as it's the district's position that members can choose to join other ASD employees and participate in the ASD plan at that rate with no net increase year on year to the employee contribution rate, or that's been the case over the last few years. However, if a member wishes to continue in the PEHD, they could, of course, do so receiving that same $1,695 contribution rate, and it would be their responsibility to pay the PEHT employee contribution rate that aligns with their plan selection. I'll just read a little bit of the language here. For those members who elect coverage with the district's health plan, the employer contribution will go to the district's health fund. Health insurance benefits for these members shall be described in the district's summary plan description as periodically amended. The association may have up to 2 representatives on the district health benefits task force. Just a couple comments about that. That is the seat at the table, if you will, vehicle currently available to other bargaining units who participate in the ASD plan, each bargaining unit of which has representation in the health benefits task force. So that's carried through here. For those members who elect coverage with the PEHT, the employer contribution shall be transmitted to the PEHT account, and the rest of that is book. The other thing to point out, new language, health plan enrollment in either the district's health plan or the PEHT plan will occur consistent with plan rules and Affordable Care Act requirements. All new hires will have the option to select enrollment in either the district's health plan or PEHT plan. Other enrollment opportunities will be defined by health plan documents and may also be advertised in advance of open enrollment periods. The intent here is to make clear that the PEHT and the ASD plan may have different open enrollment periods and may have different methods by which members are provided information related to health plan documents and so forth. And that there would be certain natural times during the employment cycle, if you will, when an employee would have an election event. And the first, of course, would be at the time of employment for new hires. And beyond that, the typical so-called qualifying life events would be other times when elections may be available, but those may vary from plan to plan depending on what the ACA allows and what each plan has adopted as those rules around open enrollment and or qualifying life event enrollment times during that particular employee's life cycle with the organization. Questions so far?
No.
Okay, I'll keep plodding along here. Apologize, it's a lengthy proposal. I guess as we read through, if most of these are technical aspects of how the district would make payment to PHT in the event members have elected PHT. There's reference toward the bottom of 16 to, again, the open enrollment period and the fact that information will be provided for each of those open enrollment periods, depending on the plan. 17, I think the thing to focus on here is, as I referenced earlier, the lengthy bit beginning at section D, having to do with the early notice of resignation incentive as related to health contributions would be struck, and instead the approach that I went through in Article 120C with the $1,000 cash payment would be the in lieu of approach there. Carrying on to 18, that's the reason for all that language being struck until you get to the bottom, which is just clarification of current practice with respect to employees who resign after the year, but before they start employment in the next school year, and for the insurance coverage that occurred during the summer. That's current practice, and it's captured here. This is where I have a break in my packet. Okay, I think that brings us to the end of 205. The next article in the package is Article 417, in-service planning. As was the case in the prior district proposal, this is returned to book language. We know that the rest of the language in 417 was moved to 418. Page 20, similar approach with discipline procedure for students, Article 419. This, starting at 20 and carrying over for the next couple pages, is identical to the district's proposal in its prior package proposal. And that carries through to page 22. Page 22 has Article 428 carrying over to page 23. Did want to point out a couple things here. There was some discussion at some point, I'm sorry I've lost track, but in the second paragraph of section A, the district's prior proposal had that first sentence struck. It's restored with an addition there. It would read, "This provision allows members to best utilize their planning and conference times and to complete other assigned duties." Paragraph C is the same. That was the district's response to an interest in some description of member participation in the elementary master schedule process. In D, the last sentence is struck. It's the same language repeated for a second time from above, so it doesn't seem necessary. If it needs to be restored, the proposal would be to restore it in the way that I just read. And those are the only changes to 428. 431 is book.
I'm sorry, Matt,
Go
could I
ahead.
interrupt you?
Yep.
Can we look at 428? So 428, A, paragraph 2. The current book language says, "This provision allows members to best utilize their planning and conference times to meet the needs of the individual member and parents of the students served."
Good catch. That should be struck. it's deleted, but it should be in here and struck.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. My apologies there. Uh, 431 is book, as I said. 452, of course, the district maintains an interest in clarifying the intent around what duties can be expected of members during the instructional planning time. It remains the district's position that the reference in the first sentence to member-directed time has been construed in a way that's unintended, that was not intended by the district, insofar as it's relied on to for members to excuse themselves from duties that had been for, I don't know, some length of time assigned from time to time during instructional planning. We do have some additions, though, that I'll get into, but that redaction is still there. As you go on to the following page, there's been some debate, maybe confusion around in the last sentence of the first, well, it's continuing paragraph at the top of page 25 as to the term infrequently. So this is an effort for both sides to clarify what that would mean. And so that final sentence, instead of infrequently administration may conduct meetings during this time, would read no more than twice per month administration may conduct meetings during this time. And the remainder of that article is book. Almost done. 470 is, I won't go through it because it's been the same in a couple different proposals. Carrying over to page 26, again, the split class payment is restored. And 615 duration, the district is interested in a 3-year contract as reflected in the salary proposal. And that's it. As you're coming up with questions, I guess I should have, since we talked a little bit about the value of the proposal, just the final grand total of the proposal is?
Sure, the total that we've proposed in the first year would be about $7.2 million in growth, about 5.6 the second year, and 5.7 the third. Total growth over the third year would be at about 18.5 million. Over the life of the contract, if everything stays the same, that would need about $38.5 million of additional cash to cover all 3 years from what we're paying in $21. The total value over the 3 years for the entire contract, just to give you the scope of this, is $1,055 million or so for 3 years of contract costs.
Thank you.
I have a question about 428, Matt.
Sure.
In paragraph E, I'm not sure how many times we saw it, but it seems like at least once we saw a reference to change, new language changing from twice per month to 3 times per month, and then it looks like that's out here. Do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, I appreciate that. I should have touched on that. I mean, there continues to be a concern, I think, and a disconnect from what I can tell as to the interests in, as we've heard from the association, in limiting meetings, and we've heard from the district and I can share from principals that there are requirements that need to occur in meetings, and there's not enough time in meetings for that to occur. So we've kind of gone back and forth. The district first struck the limitation altogether, and then came back with a proposal that we move from 2 meetings of 1.5 hours per month. This is a compromise. It's more than a compromise. It's a concession that even though there's a continuing interest to have opportunities for work to occur in meetings that doesn't currently exist, that we've heard from the membership, and so the proposal is to return to book language.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. It's 6:20 thereabouts. If we could have until maybe, probably 6:50, I suppose. Give us about 30 minutes, and we'll go through this some more and have some conversation.
Okay, appreciate
So,
it.
see you back here at 6:50. Thank you. Okay, well, thank you all for the time to look through the package. We appreciate it. And there was, of course, good conversation. So we exchanged our initial proposals in April, and we worked through the bulk of the articles that were opened. We have come to the realization, though, that we're at a place where we don't believe that progress is going to continue to happen without the assistance of a mediator. So the union is declaring that we are at impasse and that we need to contact and schedule a federal mediator from the Federal Mediation and Conciliatory Services. We still have the same goals and objectives that we started out with in April. We appreciate the district's movement where there's been movement, and we feel that the effort has been honest and forthright, and we just have come to a place where we need some help. We've had good experiences in the past with in mediation. We've been able to get a lot done and get the final few articles taken care of in mediation or shortly after. So we appreciate the times that we've met with you and the progress that we've made, but I think we've come to a point where we need a little bit of help.
Okay, understood. I think to move forward to mediation without the involvement of the Labor Relations Agency, it's a mutual declaration, so we'll accept that declaration, and that brings us to mutual declaration of impasse. Shared sentiment around the efforts over the last few months being productive, and while we had come in just now in the hope that we could continue, understand that the association's position, and we'll work with you to select a mediator.
Very good. I think Debbie and Matt can handle the arrangements there, and that probably brings us to a close for this evening. So,
All right.
Thank you all for your time, and we'll see you. Yeah, hopefully before too long.
Okay.
Good night.
Sounds good.